They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but mine came scorching hot with a side of dangerous attraction and loaded guns. My name is Zoe, and 3 months ago, I had it all: a corner office, a 6-figure salary, and a fiancé who promised me forever. Then he fired me. Not because I wasn't good enough, but because his secretary wanted my job, and apparently, she was giving him more than just coffee during their late-night meetings. I could have walked away. I could have cried and moved on. Instead, I did something far more dangerous. I seduced his brother. Not just any brother, but Kang Dae-min, the ruthless Korean Mafia CEO who could end lives with a phone call. This is the story of how I lost everything and gained something far more dangerous: power, passion, and a love that was far more dangerous than any betrayal. If you're loving this dark romance already, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell because you won't want to miss what happens when Zoe meets Dae-min. Trust me, it gets intense. Now, let's get into the story. The email came at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I remember because I was in the middle of closing the Yamazaki deal. 3 months of negotiations, countless sleepless nights, and enough caffeine to kill a small elephant. My fingers hovered over the send button that would secure $15 million for Kang Industries when my phone buzzed. Meeting in Ethan's office. 3 p.m. Don't be late. HR. I frowned. Ethan was my fiancé, my partner of 4 years, and technically my boss as COO of Kang Industries' American operations. We usually discussed everything together. Why was HR involved? Miss Okonkwo, are you alright? Mr. Yamazaki's voice crackled through the video call. I plastered on my best smile, the one that had helped a dark-skinned black woman rise through the ranks of a Korean-owned corporation faster than anyone expected. Perfectly fine, Mr. Yamazaki. Shall we finalize these terms? 20 minutes later, I walked into the conference room with my head high, engagement ring glinting under the fluorescent lights. The deal was done. I'd just made the company millions. But the moment I saw their faces, I knew something was catastrophically wrong. Ethan sat at the head of the table, his boyish features arranged in an expression I'd never seen before: cold, distant, almost cruel. To his right sat Miranda Chen, his secretary of 6 months. Her hand rested on the table, inches from his. Too close. Too familiar. Zoe, please sit, Ethan said, not meeting my eyes. What's this about? I asked, still standing. I just closed Yamazaki. We should be celebrating. This isn't about the deal. He slid a folder across the table. We're restructuring the company. Your position is being eliminated. The words didn't make sense. I picked up the folder with numb fingers. Severance package. Non-compete clause. Immediate termination. I'm being fired? My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. It's just business, Miranda said, her voice syrupy sweet. The company is moving in a different direction. I looked at her then, really looked. Her blouse was silk, expensive, new. There was a hickey on her neck, poorly concealed by foundation. And when she moved her hand, I saw it, a thin gold bracelet I recognized because I'd admired it in Cartier 3 weeks ago. Ethan said it was too expensive. But not too expensive for her. Just business, I repeated slowly. My eyes found Ethan's. When did we start conducting business in your bedroom? Or was it your car? I noticed the passenger seat's been adjusted lately. He had the decency to flush. Zoe. Don't. I held up my hand. How long? Silence. How long? My voice cracked like a whip. 4 months, Miranda answered, lifting her chin defiantly. And for the record, Ethan and I are in love. Real love. Not some arrangement. Arrangement? I laughed, bitter and sharp. Is that what you told yourself to justify sleeping with your boss? You're upset, Ethan said, standing. I understand, but this is happening, Zoe. Miranda and I are together. And honestly, it's better this way. We both know our engagement was more about optics than love. My family liked the idea of me with a successful businesswoman. You liked the stability. But neither of us was truly happy. I stared at the man I'd spent 4 years building a life with. We'd planned a fusion wedding, Nigerian meets Korean American. I'd learned to make his favorite kimchi jjigae. He'd sat through countless Sunday dinners with my Nigerian family, enduring my mother's interrogations and my father's protective glares. And all of it was a lie. Sign the papers, Zoe, he continued. The severance is generous. You'll land on your feet. You always do. I looked down at the offer. 3 months' salary. After 4 years of breaking my back for this company, of being the only black woman in every boardroom, of proving myself again and again and again. 3 months' salary. And a non-compete that would effectively blacklist me from the industry for 2 years. No, I said quietly. I'm sorry. Ethan frowned. I said no. I ripped the papers in half, letting them flutter to the table like broken promises. You want to fire me? Fine. But I'm not signing away my rights. See you in court. I turned to leave, my heart hammering. Zoe, wait. Ethan's voice hardened. You really want to do this the hard way? You know who my family is. You know what my brother does. One word from me, and you won't work anywhere in this city. Sign the fucking papers. I looked back at him, this man I'd thought I loved, and smiled. You know what, Ethan? You're right. I do know who your family is. And I know your brother Damon especially well, or at least, I know his reputation. The one you're so desperate to distance yourself from. The Korean Mafia boss who actually built this empire while you play dress up in a corner office. His face went white. Don't what? Don't tell him his baby brother is running the legitimate side of the business into the ground with nepotism and stupidity? That you're so pussy-whipped you're firing your top performer for your mediocre secretary? Miranda gasped. I graduated top of my class. At a community college, I cut her off. I have an MBA from Northwestern. I've generated over 40 million in revenue for this company in 4 years. You've generated what? Good head? Get out, Ethan snarled. Security. I'm leaving, I said, backing toward the door. But this isn't over. Not even close. I made it to my car before the tears came. 4 years. 4 fucking years of my life. I'd given up job offers, relocated to Chicago, endured the microaggressions and the whispers. Diversity hire. Affirmative action. Ethan's exotic fetish. I'd worked twice as hard to be considered half as good, and I'd done it with a smile. For what? To be discarded like trash the moment I became inconvenient. My phone buzzed. Text from my best friend, Imani. Coffee? You sound like you need coffee. Or tequila. Probably tequila. I didn't remember calling her, but apparently, I had. An hour later, I was 3 shots deep in a booth at Imani's bar in Bronzeville, spilling everything. Imani listened, her perfectly manicured nails drumming against her glass, her expression growing darker. So let me get this straight, she said when I finished. This mediocre white-passing Korean boy fired you, cheated on you, and is now threatening you with his mob family? That about sums it up. And you're just gonna take it? What choice do I have, Imani? They're the fucking Korean Mafia. The Kang family controls half of Chicago's underground. I can't fight that. Imani leaned forward, her dark eyes glinting. Baby, you're thinking about this all wrong. You don't fight them. You use them. What? The brother. Damon. From what I hear, he and Ethan hate each other. Something about Ethan being the legitimate son who turned his back on the family business, and Damon being the illegitimate son who embraced it and became the real power. I'd heard rumors, of course. Everyone in Chicago had. Kang Dae-min was a legend, the Korean mob boss who'd consolidated power in the city's Asian underworld by age 30. He was ruthless, brilliant, and according to urban legend, devastatingly handsome. He was also completely terrifying. You're insane, I told Imani. You want me to what, seduce a mafia boss for revenge? I want you to fight fire with fire. She pulled out her phone, scrolling. Look, there's a charity gala this Friday. The Kong family is hosting. Both brothers will be there. You get yourself in front of Daemin, tell him what his precious baby brother did, and watch the fireworks. Why would he care? I'm nobody to him. Girl, please. Imani gave me a look. You just closed a $15 million deal. You're gorgeous, brilliant, and now you have a vendetta against his brother. Men like Daemin Kong live for this kind of drama. Plus. She showed me her phone. It was a news article from 2 years ago. Kong Daemin's scene with mystery woman. The photo was blurry, but the woman in question was clearly black, tall, beautiful. He has a type, Imani said meaningfully. And honey, you are exactly that type. I stared at the photo, my mind racing. It was insane. Dangerous. Possibly suicidal. But the alternative was rolling over and letting Ethan win. Get me an invitation, I heard myself say. Imani grinned. Already done. I know a guy who knows a guy. You're going as his +1. Who? Does it matter? You're not trying to impress the date. You're hunting a king. The gala was held at the Kong family estate, a sprawling mansion on the North Shore that screamed old money and older secrets. I arrived in a dress that cost 2 weeks' salary, worth every penny. It was deep emerald green, cut to worship every curve of my body, with a slit that ran dangerously high on my thigh. I'd worn my hair in its natural state, a glorious crown of coils, and painted my lips the color of blood. I looked like vengeance wrapped in silk. My date was a nervous accountant named Dennis who Imani had bribed. He took one look at me and stammered, "You look, wow." "Thank you, Dennis. Now, when we get inside, you're going to disappear." "Understood." He nodded frantically. "Imani said you'd say that. She also said if I tried anything, she'd break my kneecaps. She's a good friend." The mansion was even more impressive inside, marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and enough security to guard Fort Knox. I spotted Ethan almost immediately, standing near the bar with Miranda glued to his side like a cheap suit. He saw me at the same moment. His face cycled through shock, anger, and something that might have been fear. Good. I ignored him, accepting a glass of champagne from a passing waiter and scanning the room. Where was? And then I saw him. Kong Daemin stood near the floor-to-ceiling windows, silhouetted against the Chicago skyline. He was taller than I expected, at least 6 feet 3 inches, with the kind of build that suggested he could kill you with his hands and probably had. His suit was custom, Italian. But it was his face that stopped me cold. Ethan was handsome in a boy-next-door way, soft and approachable. Daemin was beautiful the way a blade is beautiful, sharp, dangerous, mesmerizing. High cheekbones, a jaw that could cut glass, and eyes so dark they looked black. His hair was styled back, revealing a face that belonged on billboards or in nightmares. He was talking to someone, his expression bored, until his eyes drifted across the room and landed on me. The world stopped. His gaze was physical, a weight that pinned me in place. I watched his eyes travel slowly from my face down my body and back up, taking their time, making no apology for the assessment. Then he smiled. It was a predator's smile, all teeth and promise. He said something to his companion and started walking toward me. Oh God. Oh God, oh God, oh God. You're either the bravest woman in Chicago or the most foolish, a voice like whiskey and smoke said beside me. I turned. Daemin had somehow crossed the room in seconds, moving with a lethal grace that made my pulse spike. Up close, he was even more devastating. And he smelled incredible, something expensive and masculine that made me want to lean closer. Why not both? I managed, proud that my voice didn't shake. His smile widened, genuine amusement flickering in those dark eyes. I like that answer. Kong Daemin. He extended his hand. I know who you are, Mr. Kong. I placed my hand in his. Zoe Okonkwo. I know who you are as well, Miss Okonkwo. His fingers closed around mine, warm and strong. You're the woman who just closed the Yamazaki deal. Impressive work. You keep track of your brother's business dealings? I keep track of everything that affects my family's interests. He still hadn't let go of my hand. And you've been affecting them quite positively for 4 years. Which makes me wonder why you're here as Dennis Kim's date rather than my brother's fiancé. So he knew about the engagement. Of course he did. That's a complicated story, Mr. Kong. I like complicated stories. And please, call me Daemin. He finally released my hand, but only to offer his arm. Walk with me, Zoe Okonkwo. Tell me why you look at my brother like you want to watch him burn. Oh my God, it's getting so intense. Can you imagine? Zoe's about to spill everything to Daemin, and we all know that's going to be explosive. If you're loving this story, please smash that like button and drop a comment telling me what you think is going to happen next. Should Zoe trust Daemin? Is this revenge plot going to work? Let me know below. And if you're new here, subscribe because I post dark romance stories like this every week, and you don't want to miss what happens next. Okay, back to the story. This is where things get really good. Daemin led me through the crowd with proprietary ease, his hand resting on the small of my back. I could feel the heat of his palm through the thin fabric of my dress, burning like a brand. We ended up in a private study, all dark wood and leather, with walls lined with books in Korean, English, and what looked like Japanese. He closed the door behind us, and suddenly the party noise faded to a distant hum. Drink? He asked, moving to a bar cart. Whiskey. Neat. His eyebrow quirked. A woman after my own heart. He poured 2 glasses, handed me one, and settled into a leather chair, gesturing for me to take the one opposite. I sat, crossing my legs slowly, deliberately. His eyes tracked the movement. So, he said, swirling his whiskey. Tell me everything. And I did. I told him about the email, the meeting, Miranda's smug face and Ethan's betrayal. I told him about the insultingly low severance, the non-compete, the threats. I laid it all out clinically, keeping my voice steady, refusing to let him see how much it hurt. But something must have shown because halfway through, he leaned forward, his expression darkening. He threatened you with me, Daemin said. It wasn't a question. Yes. Interesting. He took a long sip of whiskey. My baby brother likes to pretend he's not part of this family, that his hands are clean. But the moment it's convenient, he waves the Kong name around like a weapon. You don't sound surprised. I'm not. Ethan has always been weak. Our father knew it. That's why he left the real power to me. He set down his glass. But using my name to threaten a woman he wronged? That's a new low, even for him. I didn't come here for your pity, Daemin. Good. Because I don't pity you. He stood, moving to the window. The city lights cast shadows across his face, making him look like something from a dark fairy tale. I admire you. You came into my territory, wearing that dress, looking like sin incarnate, to do what? Seek revenge? Protection? Both? Both, I admitted. I want him to hurt like I'm hurting. I want to take everything from him the way he took everything from me. And I know I can't do that alone. No, Daemin agreed, turning to face me. You can't. But with me? With my resources, my reach, my very particular set of skills? He smiled that dangerous smile again. Together, we could destroy him. My heart hammered. Why would you help me? He moved closer, each step deliberate, until he was standing directly in front of me. I had to tilt my head back to maintain eye contact. 3 reasons, he said, his voice dropping to a purr. 1. Ethan has been a thorn in my side for years. He takes the family money, the family name, all the benefits of being a Kong, but refuses to acknowledge the source of his privilege. I'm tired of his hypocrisy. 2. I breathed. 2. You're valuable. You closed a $15 million deal on your last day of work. You're brilliant, ruthless, and clearly underutilized. I could use someone like you in my organization. His hand came up, fingers ghosting along my jaw. I should have pulled away. This man was dangerous. This whole situation was insane. But I didn't move. And 3? I whispered. 3. His thumb brushed across my lower lip, and heat exploded in my core. I want you, Zoe Okonkwo. I've wanted you since I saw you walk through those doors looking like every fantasy I've ever had. And what I want, I take. I should have been offended. Should have slapped him, walked out, run screaming. Instead, I stood, bringing us chest to chest, and looked him dead in the eye. I don't belong to anyone, Daemin Kong. Not anymore. If we do this, and that's a big if, it's as equals. Partners. You help me destroy Ethan, and I'll work for you. But I'm not some trophy you get to claim. For a long moment, he just stared at me. Then he threw his head back and laughed, deep and genuine. God, you're perfect, he said when he recovered. Fine. Partners. He extended his hand. Shall we burn my brother's world to the ground? I took his hand. Let's. His fingers tightened around mine, pulling me closer. We should seal this agreement properly. And how do partners seal agreements in your world? Like this. He kissed me. It wasn't gentle or sweet. It was claiming, conquering, a statement of intent. His mouth moved over mine with expert precision, one hand tangling in my hair while the other splayed across my back, holding me against him. I kissed him back just as fiercely, pouring 4 years of frustration and rage and loneliness into it. He tasted like whiskey and danger and bad decisions, and I wanted more. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, his eyes were molten. Partners, he said roughly. Partners, I agreed. The door burst open. Ethan stood there, Miranda behind him, his face purple with rage. What the fuck is this? He snarled. Damon's arm slid around my waist, casual and possessive. Ethan. We were just talking about you. Get your hands off my fiancé. Your fiancé? I laughed. You fired me and kicked me to the curb, remember? I'm not your anything anymore. Zoe, what are you doing? Ethan looked between us, panic creeping into his voice. You don't know what you're getting into. He's dangerous. He's everything you're not. Daemin suggested pleasantly. Competent? Loyal? Good in bed? I choked on a laugh. Ethan's hands clenched into fists. This is insane. Zoe, let's talk. Privately. We can work this out. There's nothing to work out, I said coldly. You made your choice. I'm making mine. You're doing this for revenge, Ethan accused. Using my brother to get back at me. It's pathetic. No, Daemin said, his voice dropping to something lethal. What's pathetic is threatening a woman with my name. Did you really think I wouldn't find out, Ethan? That I wouldn't care that you've been throwing around your connection to me while simultaneously pretending I don't exist? Hyung, Ethan started, and I realized it was the first time I'd heard him use the Korean honorific for older brother. Don't. Daemin cut him off. You made your bed with your secretary. Now lie in it. But Zoe? She's with me now. And if you or anyone from Kong Industries goes near her, if you so much as breathe in her direction, I will dismantle everything you've built brick by brick. Am I clear? Ethan's face was white. Father won't let you. Father's dead, or have you forgotten? I run this family now. And I've been far too lenient with you. Maybe it's time that changed. The threat hung in the air, sharp as a knife. Miranda tugged on Ethan's arm. Come on, baby. Let's go. They deserve each other. Ethan let himself be pulled away, but not before shooting me a look of pure hatred. You'll regret this, Zoe. Both of you will. When they were gone, I sagged slightly. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving me shaky. Damon's arms came around me, steady and strong. You okay? I just made an enemy of my ex-fiancé and probably his entire company. Yes, he agreed. But you gained something far more valuable. What's that? He tilted my chin up, his smile wicked and warm. Me. The next morning, I woke up in silk sheets, in a bedroom bigger than my entire apartment, with a pounding headache and a text from an unknown number. Coffee's in the kitchen. We have a meeting at 10. We're something that says, I own this city. DK. It all came flooding back. The gala. The kiss. The confrontation with Ethan. Oh God, what had I done? I'd made a deal with the devil himself, that's what. Kong Dae-min, the most dangerous man in Chicago, was now my, what? Employer? Partner? Something more? I stumbled out of bed, realizing I was wearing one of his shirts, expensive cotton that hung to my thighs. I had a vague memory of him bringing me back here after the party, of being too exhausted and emotionally wrung out to go home, of him showing me to this room with perfect gentlemanly behavior. Which somehow made him more dangerous, not less. I found the bathroom, marble, of course, with a shower that could fit 6 people, and made myself presentable. My dress from last night was hanging in the closet, cleaned and pressed. My shoes were lined up neatly. How the hell had that happened while I was sleeping? Staff, a voice said behind me. I spun. Dae-min leaned in the doorway, wearing black slacks and a white shirt unbuttoned at the collar. His hair was damp, like he'd just showered, and he looked unfairly good for whatever ungodly hour it was. I have staff, he clarified. They took care of your things. And before you ask, no one entered your room. They're trained better than that. You have people trained to clean clothes without entering rooms? That's a very specific skill set. I have a very specific life. He pushed off the doorframe. Come. Breakfast. Then we plan. The kitchen was industrial-sized, all stainless steel and granite, with a chef actually cooking. The chef, a middle-aged Korean woman who introduced herself as Mrs. Song, served up a spread that made my mouth water, traditional Korean breakfast alongside American favorites, fresh fruit, and coffee that smelled like heaven. Eat, Dae-min commanded, sitting across from me. You'll need your strength. For what? War. He pulled out a tablet, sliding it across to me. On the screen was a detailed dossier on Kong Industries' American operations, financials, contracts, personnel files, everything. How did you get this? I breathed, scrolling through. I own 40% of the company through various shell corporations. Ethan thinks he's independent, but I've had my fingers in his business since day one. Insurance. Why not just take over completely? Because until now, he wasn't worth the effort. He was playing businessman, making decent money, staying out of my way. But now? His eyes met mine. Now he's touched something of mine. That changes everything. I'm not yours, I reminded him, even as heat curled in my belly at the possessiveness in his tone. Not yet, he agreed easily. But you will be. The confidence should have annoyed me. Instead, it sent a thrill down my spine. Focus, Zoe. What's the plan? I asked, forcing myself to look back at the tablet. Simple. We bleed him dry. You know his business better than anyone, you helped build it. You know the weak points, the questionable deals, the corners he's cut. We exploit every single one. I thought about it, my mind already racing. The Yamazaki deal. I closed it, but the contract hasn't been fully executed yet. If certain irregularities came to light during the compliance review. Damon's smile was sharp. What kind of irregularities? The kind where Ethan may have overstated the company's capabilities. And understated certain conflicts of interest. Nothing I was directly involved in, I added quickly. But things I noticed and flagged that he told me to ignore. Did you document these flags? Every single one. I always cover my ass. Smart woman. He stood, coming around the table. Send me everything. I'll have my lawyers review it. If Yamazaki pulls out, That's 15 million in losses and a reputation hit Kong Industries can't afford. It'll also hurt innocent people. Employees who had nothing to do with this. He studied me for a long moment. You have a conscience. I like that. Rare in my world. He pulled out his phone. I'll have my HR department reach out to the key employees. Quiet offers, better pay, more security. The ones worth saving, we save. The rest. He shrugged. Just like that? Just like that. I told you, Zoe. With my resources, we can do anything. Over the next 2 hours, we planned. It was exhilarating, like the best kind of business negotiation mixed with the thrill of a heist. Damon was brilliant, seeing angles I'd missed, while I provided insider knowledge he couldn't have. We were a good team. Too good. There's something else we need to address, Damon said as Mrs. Song cleared our plates. Optics. Optics? Ethan will spin this as you being a gold digger who jumped from one brother to another. Miranda will play the victim. We need to control the narrative. I hadn't thought about that. How? We make it a love story. He said it so casually, like he was discussing the weather. We've been secretly involved for months. You and Ethan were already falling apart. Everyone who knows you will confirm there was no real passion there. You tried to make it work, but your heart belonged to someone else. When you discovered his affair, it was the final straw. You left him, and I finally claimed what should have been mine all along. It was a good story. Believable, even. But that makes me look weak, I protested. Like I needed a man to save me. No, he corrected, moving closer. It makes you look human. And it makes him look like an idiot who lost a queen chasing a pawn. Trust me on this. He was standing right in front of me now, close enough that I could feel his body heat. Is that all this is to you? I asked quietly. A narrative? A way to hurt your brother? His hand came up, cupping my face with surprising gentleness. If that's all it was, I could have ruined Ethan 1,000 times over. I'm doing this because he hurt you. And because when I saw you last night, something in me recognized something in you. What? I whispered. Another person who's had to fight for every scrap of respect. Who's been underestimated because of how they look, where they come from. You fought to be seen in white corporate America as a black woman. I fought to be seen as more than a gangster's bastard son. His thumb stroked my cheek. We're the same, you and I, survivors. Fighters. Winners. That's a pretty speech. It's the truth. He leaned in, his lips brushing my ear. And the truth is, I want you in every way a man can want a woman. In my business, in my bed, by my side. But I'm a patient man, Zoe. I can wait until you're ready to admit you want me too. He pulled back before I could respond, checking his watch. The meeting's in 30 minutes. Your choice, I can have someone take you home, or you can come with me and we start this war together. It wasn't really a choice at all. I'm coming with you. His smile could have lit up the city. Good. Mrs. Song has clothes for you in the guest room. Size 6, right? How did you? I pay attention. He headed for the door, then paused. Oh, and Zoe? Welcome to the family business. The meeting was at Damon's official office, a sleek high-rise in the Loop with enough security to guard the Pentagon. Everyone we passed bowed slightly to him, their eyes carefully averted. It was like watching a king move through his court. And I was right beside him, wearing a burgundy power suit that Mrs. Song had somehow procured in my exact size. I felt like I could conquer the world. We were meeting with his legal team and what he called his information specialists, which I suspected was a polite term for hackers and private investigators. Gentlemen, Damon said as we entered the conference room. Meet Zoe Okonkwo. She's now my senior consultant and has full access to all non-sensitive operations. What she says, I say. Clear? A chorus of, yes, sir, followed. For the next 3 hours, we dissected Kong Industries' vulnerabilities like surgeons. My documentation of Ethan's questionable decisions was damning. Damon's legal team found 6 potential regulatory violations. The information specialists uncovered email trails between Ethan and Miranda that were explicit. He was using company servers for this? I said, mortified, as I read an email that was basically pornographic. Idiot, Damon said mildly. Never put anything in writing you wouldn't want read in court. Are we going to court? Maybe. Depends on how stupid he gets. He turned to his lead lawyer, a sharp-eyed woman named Park Ji-won. What's our strongest play? The Yamazaki deal, she said immediately. If those irregularities Ms. Okonkwo documented are as serious as they appear, we can trigger a compliance review that will freeze the contract. Yamazaki will panic, pull out, and likely sue for misrepresentation. The publicity alone will tank Kong Industries' stock. Collateral damage? Damon asked. Significant. Layoffs likely. Possible dissolution of the American branch. He looked at me. Your call. Everyone in the room turned to stare. My call? I repeated. You worked there for 4 years. You have relationships with these people. If you want to find a different angle, we will. He was giving me power. Real power. In a room full of people who probably thought I was just the boss's new girlfriend, he was making it clear I had an actual voice. I thought of my former coworkers. Jenny in accounting who had 3 kids. Henry in sales who was saving for his daughter's college. They didn't deserve to suffer for Ethan's sins. But I also thought of Ethan's face when he fired me. Of Miranda's smirk. Of 4 years of my life stolen. We make the offer to key employees first, I decided. Give them a clean out. The ones who take it, we protect. The ones who don't. I met Damon's eyes. We burn it all down. His smile was proud. You heard the lady. Make it happen. Over the next 2 weeks, I learned what it meant to be part of Kong Damon's world. It meant working 18-hour days, fueled by coffee and spite. It meant watching Ethan's empire crumble in real time as we poached his best employees, as the Yamazaki deal fell apart spectacularly, as rumor after rumor about his affair with Miranda leaked to the press. It also meant late nights in Damon's office, sitting across from him as we strategized, our minds in perfect sync. Meals together. Inside jokes. The casual brush of his hand against mine that made my pulse spike. The man was patient, I'd give him that. He flirted relentlessly but never pushed. Never demanded more than I was willing to give. Which somehow made me want to give him everything. You're staring, he said one night, not looking up from his laptop. We were in his home office, me curled up on his couch reviewing personnel files, him at his desk managing what I'd learned was a vast criminal empire. Illegal gambling, protection services, smuggling, he ran it all with the efficiency of a Fortune 500 CEO. It should have scared me. Maybe it did, a little. But it also fascinated me. Just thinking, I said. About? How surreal this is. 3 weeks ago, I was planning a wedding. Now I'm helping a mob boss destroy my ex-fiancé while working for said mob boss and living in his house. I'd moved in a week ago. It just made sense, we were working together constantly, and my apartment lease was up anyway. That's what I told myself. The truth was messier. More complicated. Having regrets? Damon asked, finally looking at me. No, I said honestly. That's what scares me. I should regret this. It's insane. But I've never felt more alive. He stood, moving to the couch. When he sat down next to me, his thigh pressed against mine, solid and warm. You want to know what I think? He asked. What? I think you've spent your whole life playing by rules that were designed to keep you down. Be twice as good to be seen as half as equal. Smile through the microaggressions. Accept the scraps and be grateful. His hand found mine, lacing our fingers together. But you were never meant for scraps, Zoe. You were meant to reign. With you? I whispered. If you'll have me. I looked at our joined hands, his pale against my dark, fitting together like they'd been designed that way. I don't do anything halfway, Damon. If I'm with you, I'm with you. All of it. The business, the danger, everything. I know. And I won't be a trophy or an accessory. I'm a partner or I'm nothing. I know that too. He turned my face to his. I'm not asking you to be less, Zoe. I'm asking you to be more. With me. When he kissed me this time, it was different from the claiming kiss at the gala. This was a promise. A beginning. I kissed him back, pouring everything into it, all the fear and anger and want I'd been holding back. Zoe, he groaned against my lips. If you start this, I'm not stopping. Good, I breathed. Don't. He pulled me onto his lap, his hands spanning my waist. I could feel him hard beneath me, and heat pooled in my core. I want you so much, he growled, his mouth moving to my neck. For weeks, watching you in my space, wearing my clothes, being brilliant and beautiful and completely off limits. I'm not off limits anymore, I gasped as his teeth grazed my pulse point. No, he agreed. You're mine. This time, I didn't correct him. He carried me to his bedroom, our bedroom, I realized, since I'd been sleeping in the guest room but all my things had migrated here anyway. What followed was incendiary. After, lying tangled together, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my skin, I felt something shift in my chest. Something dangerous and wonderful. What are you thinking? He murmured. That I'm in trouble, I admitted. Why? Because I think I'm falling for you. And that wasn't part of the plan. He tilted my chin up, his eyes soft. Plans change. I should know, I've been in love with you since you told me to fuck off in my own study. My heart stopped. What? You heard me. I love you, Zoe Okonkwo. Your strength, your brilliance, your refusal to be anything less than exactly who you are. I love all of it. Tears pricked my eyes. That's really inconvenient timing. Why? Because now I can't enjoy destroying your brother without feeling bad that I'm doing it because I love you back. His smile could have powered the sun. You love me? Apparently, I have terrible taste in men. He laughed, rolling us so I was beneath him. Say it again. I have terrible taste? Zoe. I love you, I whispered. God help me, I love you. He kissed me again, deep and slow. God help us both. The final blow came on a rainy Thursday morning. The expose ran in the Chicago Tribune, front page, above the fold. Kong Industries executive fired top performer after affair with secretary, emails and documents reveal pattern of misconduct. It was devastating. Thorough. Damning. And 100% accurate. My documentation, combined with the emails Damon's team had recovered, painted a picture of corporate malfeasance and personal betrayal that had social media on fire by noon. Hashtag Justice for Zoe was trending nationally. I watched it unfold from Damon's office, my coffee growing cold in my hands. How do you feel? He asked quietly. I don't know, I admitted. Vindicated? Sad? Relieved? My phone had been ringing off the hook, reporters, former colleagues, even my family in Lagos who'd somehow heard. I'd ignored most of it, but one call I'd taken. Imani, screaming with joy. You did it. That cheating bastard is finished. I'm so proud of you. I was proud too. But also, is it wrong that I feel bad for him? I asked Damon. No, he said, coming to stand beside me at the window. It means you're not like him. You have empathy. Conscience. It's part of why I love you. Down below, I could see the crowds of reporters surrounding the Kong Industries building. Ethan would be in there, watching his world implode. Part of me wanted to gloat. Part of me just felt tired. It's not over, Damon said, reading my expression. He's going to retaliate. How? His reputation is destroyed. The board is calling for his resignation. He's lost. Wounded animals are the most dangerous. He pulled out his phone, frowning at a text. And I just got word he's here. Downstairs. Ethan? Here. Demanding to see me. Damon's expression was unreadable. Want to be there? Did I? Facing Ethan after everything. Yes, I decided. I want him to see that I'm not broken. That I won. They brought Ethan up to the office in handcuffs. Not literal ones, Damon wasn't that dramatic. But flanked by 2 of his security guards, Ethan looked like a prisoner anyway. He also looked terrible. Unshaven, hollow-eyed, his expensive suit rumpled. This wasn't the polished executive I'd known. This was a man on the edge. "You vindictive bitch," were the first words out of his mouth, directed at me. Damon moved faster than I'd ever seen him, grabbing Ethan by the throat and slamming him against the wall. "Choose your next words very carefully, little brother," he said softly. "Because they might be your last." "Damon, don't," I said, touching his arm. "He's not worth it." For a long moment, Damon didn't move. Then he released Ethan, who crumpled against the wall, gasping. "You're only alive because she asked nicely," Damon said. "Remember that." Ethan straightened, his eyes burning with hate. "You two deserve each other. A criminal and a whore. Still a better love story than you and your secretary," I said coolly. "How is Miranda, by the way? I saw she resigned. Something about not wanting to be associated with the scandal?" His face flushed. "She was scared. The press was harassing her. Sounds like she can dish it out but can't take it." I crossed my arms. "Why are you here, Ethan?" "To tell you this isn't over. You think you've won, but I have evidence. Proof that he jabbed a finger at Damon, has been running illegal operations through the company. I go down, I'm taking him with me." Damon laughed. Actually laughed. "Please do. I'd love to see you explain to federal investigators how you've been taking dividends from those illegal operations for years without questioning the source." Ethan's face went white. You kept records?" "I keep records of everything. Did you really think I'd let you profit from my work without insurance?" Damon shook his head. "You're not just stupid, Ethan. You're delusional. You want to play in the mud with me? You'll drown. Father would never. Father's dead." Damon roared, and for the first time, I saw a real emotion crack through his controlled facade. "He's been dead for 3 years, and you're still hiding behind him. Grow up. You lost. Accept it." Silence fell, thick and heavy. Ethan looked between us, something broken in his eyes. "I loved you," he said to me. "Maybe not the way I should have, but I did. And you threw it away for him." "No," I said quietly. "You threw it away the moment you chose Miranda over loyalty, over respect, over 4 years of partnership. I didn't leave you for Damon. I left you because you showed me who you really are. Damon just helped me realize I deserved better." "And you think he's better?" Ethan laughed bitterly. "He's a monster, Zoe. He'll hurt you worse than I ever could." "Maybe," I agreed. "But at least he's honest about who he is. You wore a mask and called it love." Ethan stared at me for a long moment, then turned to Damon. "What do you want? To finish me completely? Take everything?" "I want you out of Chicago," Damon said. "Tonight. There's a position in the Seoul office, low level, nothing glamorous, but it's a job. You take it, keep your head down, and maybe in a few years, you can rebuild your reputation. And if I don't? Then I release the rest of the files. The ones showing you've been skimming from company accounts. Embezzlement charges, Ethan. Federal prison." It was a bluff, probably. But Ethan didn't know that. He sagged. "Seoul. Tonight," Damon repeated. "There's a ticket waiting for you at O'Hare. Don't make me come looking for you." Ethan nodded, defeated. He walked to the door, then paused. "For what it's worth, Zoe. I'm sorry. You deserved better. You were right about that." Then he was gone. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. Is it really over? Yes, Damon said, pulling me into his arms. It's over. You're free. Free. The word felt strange. Foreign. But also, right. 6 months later, I stood in front of a different kind of crowd. The Chicago Business Association's annual gala, where they were honoring the city's most influential businesspeople. I was receiving the Rising Star Award. Me. Zoe Okonkwo. The woman who'd been fired, betrayed, and counted out. This is surreal, I whispered to Damon as we waited backstage. He looked unfairly handsome in his tuxedo, his arm around my waist. You earned this. The consulting firm you built is already worth millions. After everything with Ethan settled, I'd started my own business, corporate consulting with a focus on diversity and ethical practices. Damon had been my first investor and my biggest champion. I'd also, quietly, started working with his legitimate businesses, helping clean up operations and expand into new markets. The illegal stuff? I stayed away from that. We had boundaries. But we made it work. Nervous? He asked. Terrified, I admitted. You're going to be brilliant. He kissed my temple. You always are. My name was called. I walked out to applause, climbing the stage to accept an award I'd never dreamed I'd receive. Thank you, I said into the microphone, looking out at the sea of faces. 6 months ago, I lost everything I thought defined me. My job, my relationship, my sense of self. But in losing everything, I found something better. I found my voice. My power. My purpose. I found Damon's eyes in the crowd. He was watching me like I hung the moon. This award isn't just for me, I continued. It's for every woman who's been told she's too much or not enough. Every person of color who's had to work twice as hard for half the recognition. Every person who's been knocked down and told to stay down. Get back up. Build something better. And never, ever let anyone dim your light. The applause was thunderous. Later, at the after-party, Damon found me on the balcony, looking out at the Chicago skyline. Hiding from your fans, he teased. Just taking a moment. I leaned into him as his arms came around me. This city tried to break me. But it didn't. No, I agreed. It made me stronger. We made me stronger. He turned me to face him, his expression serious. Zoe Okonkwo, you are the most remarkable woman I've ever met. You're brilliant, fierce, compassionate, and you make me want to be better. You've changed my life in ways I can't even articulate. Damon. He dropped to one knee. Oh my God. I know we've only been together 6 months. I know this is fast. But I also know that I want to spend the rest of my life watching you conquer the world. He pulled out a box, opening it to reveal a ring that took my breath away, a stunning emerald surrounded by diamonds. Marry me. Be my partner in everything. Help me build an empire that our children will be proud of.